Welcome back. This is the Freedom Corner podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Utroska. Got here in the studio with me Representative Chris Brown.
Hello.
Chris, had you on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Glad to have you back today. Got some exciting news. Of course, yesterday was the qualification deadline for people running for office, and you signed up.
I did. You want to do the best you can for the future. I've got 5 children, 3 grand boys in District 1. So the vacated seat formerly held by a Democrat was open, and it just lined up well with our policies. And we're running for Public Service Commissioner in Northern District.
Good. Well, Fantastic. We're excited to hear that. There was certainly the rumor around the swamp here in Jackson that you may be looking at that. So me personally, I'm glad to hear that. Of course, I saw on the qualification, on the website when you qualified that it was, but I know you're kind of rolling out your announcement today.
Yep.
And so excited about that. Been doing some good work here in the legislature for your district, your House Representatives district in Nettleton and Amory.
Yep.
And I've been doing good work for 3 terms now, and looking to move on to help all of North Mississippi with something that I think is a very important role. Public Service Commission, our government kind of set up almost this monopoly around utilities, and because they've done that, and they decided at least at one point that to do that was the best way to do it for citizens, so that electric companies and water companies, power companies, or whatever, aren't fighting over each other for districts, and not everybody's asking for right of ways, not everybody's cutting through your property with gas lines and things like that. So they set this up. But then we have elected officials who oversee this as commissioners.
Correct.
And so that is what the Public Service Commissioner does. And it is something that affects everybody in the entire state. But certainly we have 3 different districts: North, Central, and South. And so you're running for the Northern District.
Yes, there's 33 counties in it. Stretches all the way from DeSoto County all the way to Tishomingo and down to Winston and past Oktibbeha. Lee County, Monroe County. The interesting part about it is I've got a long history in Monroe County.
Yeah.
Oh, not Monroe County, in North Mississippi. I'm an 8th generation Mississippian. I grew up in DeSoto County. So I actually was born in Memphis and lived in Hernando and South Haven all my life till 6th grade.
Yeah.
6th grade, my dad went back home to Benton-Tippah County to buy his old grandfather's gas station. So it came back up for sale, and he wanted to go back home.
Yeah.
So we went back home to Tippah County, where I went to Walnut High School, graduated there from 7th to 12th grade. Went from Tippah County over to Prentiss County to go to Northeast Mississippi Community College. Go Tigers. So graduated from there, or finished there, and went to Lee, Monroe County to start a business.
Yeah.
So I had businesses in Lowndes County, Monroe County, Pontotoc County, Alcorn County, and again have connections all the way across the district. So I'm very familiar with District 1.
Yep, absolutely. And again, it's something that will affect everyone. Basically, everybody that has any kind of utilities, unless you live off the grid, then maybe they won't have to worry about you. But I think it's very important not only to have somebody in that seat that knows the process for our public utilities, but also the legislative process, because you have to work with the legislator. So you certainly have that experience. The committee that you chair now, which is Environmental Water Resources.
Conservation Water Resources.
Yeah, Conservation Water Resources. That ties into it as well.
And we're there to try to make sure the EPA doesn't come into Mississippi and jump down our throats, right?
Yeah, and they have a history of doing that.
They do. So our goal is to continue to keep them at bay.
Yep. No, absolutely. And so you'll be campaigning all the way across the Northern District, getting to meet people. And so I know they will look forward to that.
Anybody that lives in the 1st District, I need your vote and support, please.
Yep, absolutely. So we're certainly saddened at the Freedom Caucus that you'll be leaving as a legislative member, but certainly we'll continue to do good work and build on the work that you've done here in Jackson.
The principles are the same, so we carry individual responsibility, limited government, good policies, that translates to any public service position. So look forward to jumping in and helping keep rates low, cut them if we can, and make sure that everything continues to function and the ratepayers defended.
Yep, absolutely. So here in the legislature, though, to bring it back here a little bit, so we hit committee deadlines. The bills came out of committee on Tuesday. So there's
A lot
about
of good bills died that day.
a lot of bills died. So I did, of course, I have a radio show program I do every morning, and my radio show, when I podcast after it's over, I podcast it, and the name of the show was "It's a Hard Day for Conservatives."
It was a hard day for conservative bills for sure.
Yeah.
We got some good stuff out. 1125 is a great bill.
Yep.
Look forward to the Senate taking it up. Those that aren't familiar, 1125 just says that you can't mutilate a child under
Right.
18, either chemically or through surgery. So we passed it largely among party lines in the House. I was a co-author of that bill.
Yep.
So it went to the Senate, and I think it's out of committee, but hasn't been to the Senate floor yet.
Right.
So that's that'll be a good piece of legislation in itself.
Yep. And they still have a few weeks for that.
do.
We'll come up next week. Next Thursday, a week from today, will be the floor deadline for bills that originated in the
opposite house.
Right.
Yeah. Chamber.
And the same chamber. So next week, a week from today, is House bills
That's
off
correct.
the House floor. So the Senate still has plenty of time to pass a House bill. So hope they will do that. But yeah, and it also includes pre-op services for it too for children.
That's
and that
right.
was one of the issues we saw. The Mississippi Freedom Caucus pointed out and sent out emails over the summer about that, because we found that University of Mississippi's medical center was not doing the surgery itself for children, but children as young as 12, they were doing kind of the pre-op services for that,
Right.
giving them hormone therapy, giving them the psychological evaluations and therapies they need to get ready to send them out of state for the child mutilation. So this bill actually included that as well.
Sure it did. So it's pretty tight. And again, it's all designed to protect children.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't even children can't get tattoos. You can't get married until 21 in the state of Mississippi. My son got married at 20, married his childhood sweetheart from church. And I had to sign for him.
Yeah.
You cannot in the state of Mississippi get married till you're 21. So you can't get a driver's license until you get 18. Just all on and on and
Yeah.
on. So you're not an adult, and we say it over and over again. You're not able to make those life-changing decisions
Absolutely.
until after 18. And if anybody doesn't think this is a life-changing decision, they're not paying attention.
Right. Well, there was the event that we went to
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago, and there was actually a young girl there who came and talked about it.
Oh, it was so moving. It was
Yeah.
powerful. She was one that was had gender dysphoria, if you will. She was told that she was a boy through school, and she tried to transition to a boy.
Yeah.
And she couldn't afford the surgery. And so today she's very thankful for that,
Right.
because I think she said she attempted suicide.
Yeah.
And then realized that all this is not what she's supposed to do. And, all that was part of her problem.
Right.
And so she went back to being a female. And now she's sharing her testimony and warning young people that don't do this.
Yep. That's right. Yep. So that was certainly a good bill. There's a lot of other good bills, religious exemption
We had a
bills
CON.
for vaccines. It
We had
failed. CON bill failed.
Well, thanks to Chairman Yancey and drug policy, he attempted to bring out CON reform.
Yep.
It was a small CON reform, and basically it just did drug rehabilitation
Yeah.
beds, and he couldn't even get it passed out of the
Right.
committee. So
Yep.
he got
Well, I think Chairman Yancey, Lee Yancey, I think he and 2 or 3 of the Freedom Caucus members that were in the room, they were the only ones that voted for it.
that's
I
correct.
think
Yeah.
the few other Republicans and all the Democrats that were in that committee voted against certificate of need reform, which is a free market bill.
It is a free market bill, and it wasn't wide. The bill he took up was, I think it was House Bill 10. It was not far reaching. I
Right.
mean, it was a small bite at the apple, and hospitals were outside to try to make sure they get the members in shape.
Oh yeah.
But I think the votes were there until he got to committee, and I applaud him for trying it. I did it back when I was Medicaid chairman, and it was pretty much the same result.
Yeah. Well, there was certainly one Republican in the committee that is employed by the hospitals that is very against certificate of need because, of course, she profits from it. And so she was leading the charge, at least on the Republican side of it, to try to get other Republicans to vote against it. But yeah, so there was certificate of need failed. The vaccine religious exemptions failed.
That was a contentious fight in the Senate, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't see it, but I heard it was pretty
Yeah.
contentious.
Well, Angela Hill on that side was, defending it pretty well. And it was Briggs Hobson that was fighting against it.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so, but I heard came out afterwards that apparently his father was a doctor who was a very, well respected and well known doctor. And so that may have had something to do with it.
How close was the vote?
I don't know. I didn't see
Okay.
the vote itself. So yeah,
Was it in committee or on the
I think it
floor?
was just in committee.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So they probably didn't get a roll call.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but that is dead in the House as well. Election integrity.
Yep.
All dead.
Parents' Bill of Rights.
Parents' Bill of Rights. That
That
was
was
the Speaker himself.
Speaker's bill. I don't understand that.
It
one.
died.
Yeah. So basically, it just empowered parents to know what their kids are learning, to know what's going on with their own children.
Transparency bill.
Yeah, it's completely complete transparency, and it was it died.
Yeah,
that was shocking to me.
Yep. So lots of good bills died. Of course, lots of bad bills made it out, and they're on the calendar now. You guys have started going through it. Big day yesterday. You guys had about 225 bills on the calendar yesterday. Got through 57 of them yesterday. All but one of them passed. The one bill that failed was the annexation bill.
Correct.
That basically just put tighter restrictions on cities from being able to annex.
It was a common sense bill, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
You can't annex an area until you can provide city services for
right.
them. So if you're going to charge them extra taxes for being in the city, you've got to provide those services to them.
Yep.
So it was a common sense bill.
Well, so I lived in Hattiesburg for a while and for many years, and the city of Hattiesburg kept trying to annex my street where I lived.
Right.
And so I fought them, on and off for multiple times. Times they tried to take it to court and annex us. And there were areas of the city of Hattiesburg that they had annexed over 10 years ago, and they had still not provided services for them.
Wow.
So they're charging
collecting the taxes.
Yes, businesses and residences. They were charging city taxes to them, but not providing services to them. And because the city of Hattiesburg, school system's not nearly as good as it is in Oak Grove in Lamar County, nobody wanted to go to the public school. So that was part of the annexation, was to say, hey, if we annex you, we'll let you continue to go to Lamar County schools, though, because we know you don't want to go to city of Hattiesburg schools.
Wow.
So that was part. I mean, from the very beginning, they said we're not going to have you, send you to city schools. You can stay in Lamar County schools, but they weren't providing sewage, they weren't providing water, they weren't providing any other city services that they're supposed to be providing. You're left out on your own because now the county's not sending you services either.
Right. So I think that bill's held on the motion to reconsider. So hopefully it'll come back.
I hope so.
So the interesting topic that's going around the Capitol is setting up a new justice system.
Yes.
Court system in Jackson.
Yep.
What do we think about that?
Yeah. So it's
it's a tough one, right?
CCID.
Because it expands government.
It does.
But
so it's an interesting topic. What the bill does is it basically takes the Capitol complex, expands that into other areas of Northeast Jackson.
So for those that don't know, listening, we have a Capitol Police. And so we have the Capitol complex zone that those police and make sure it's safe. So we expanded that a couple of times in my tenure just to kind of try to make the Capitol area as safe as possible. But the prosecutors are the same. And so the Capitol Police will arrest a perpetrator and then put them over to the current judicial system, and they're not prosecuted.
Yeah.
So they get slapped on the wrist, they come right back out and commit those same crimes, which makes it very hard for law enforcement. So all that works together. So if you have a judicial system that doesn't work, how does the law enforcement work within a judicial system that doesn't work?
Yep.
And so that's what they're trying to fix with the
what they call CCID, but also expands it into Northeast Jackson.
Exactly. And so
not just kind of in this Capitol complex area, it expands it, but then it sets up the judicial system so that you have judges who will oversee the district. Yep. But the judges are not elected. They are appointed by the Supreme Court. Right. By the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Yep. And so I know that's contentious.
It was interesting. It passed out of Ways and Means. I sat on that committee. And it was interesting that some of those that were presumably against it were trying to make sure that it was expanded to the areas that they wanted to expand to.
Right.
So I think overall it would be a positive impact for the city of Jackson.
Yeah.
And for the safety of those that visit the Capitol complex.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which we all would need to be safe in our capital city.
Yeah. And it also it has a taxing portion to it too.
Right. Yep.
So it increases. Right now, Capitol complex gets a 6% diversion. It would increase that to 9%. But then it would also give them 0.7% of the overall diversion that the city of Jackson now gets.
Right.
So it put a lot of money into it, but it's increasing the area. You're basically creating a new judicial system for the area. So it does grow government. It grows the amount of money that maybe not taxing, because it's not really increasing the overall tax
No, it's
burden
just
to the
diversion,
citizens.
right.
It's diverting it from the city of Jackson to this new area to pay for these things.
But it also is less they have to say grace over, so to speak.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So-
yeah, so their judges will see less people because anybody in the district go to the new judges. They won't have to police the area, the new area anymore, because
it's
the
interesting,
Capitol complex will.
So it does grow government, but it actually makes people safer. So
Yep. So it's
are you for this or against it?
Whew. I think one of the
We've
issues,
had that discussion.
Yeah, we have
numerous times. Right?
I would say that at least one of the things that needs to be changed with it. I haven't looked at the numbers for the taxing side of it. If the taxes that they're trying to take out the city of Jackson, if that pays for the services and it covers everything, and it's basically is kind of like a swap, because Jackson's not having to police that area anymore. They're not having to provide the judicial services for it anymore. And so if the money they're taking is just to pay for those things and it's basically an even swap, I'm okay with that. My issue, I think, is the judges. Most judges at that level are elected judges,
right,
not appointed. I understand it's a little bit different because this is a state, basically the legislature controls, this area, the Capitol complex, but then, the policing is done by a state agency, the Department of Public Safety. So I can understand how it's a little bit different for judges, but I think I would prefer that the judges be elected by the citizens within this Capitol complex district.
It is interesting, with dealing with the capital city problems it is interesting because a lot of times it does expand regulation.
Right.
We had a couple bills in Conservation Water Resources. One was basically holding the city accountable for clean water.
Yeah.
So we found out, there's two restaurants here local, very popular restaurants. One's Babalu and Fondren, and the other one's Barrel House.
Yeah.
Both of them very, very nice restaurants are closing their doors because of three things. The water's not reliable. It's not safe most of the time. The sewer system is messed up. And this is what we're talking about, law enforcement and safety.
Yeah. Right.
And then the hotel at the bottom of High Street, the Holiday Inn Express, it was told to me, and I'll tell it as truth because that's what's told to me as truth, that their occupancy rate is like 20%. Well, national occupancy rate for Holiday Inn Express is like 60%. Flowwood is around 60%. That Holiday Inn Express at the bottom of the Capitol Street is 20%. Well, because the perception is you can't even drink the water here in Jackson. So as a legislature, we're trying to help the citizens here. 180,000 people over or more live in this area that drink the water and rely on the sewer systems. And if it continues to fail, the economic structure of the city continues to crumble. And so it makes it tough for us to say, how do we protect the people of the state and the citizens of the city from the legislative perspective if the city won't?
Right.
And that's where all this stuff starts coming up.
It is difficult.
It is difficult.
We want to keep things as local as we can.
Right.
But at some point, if corruption takes in, if the government, not that any government can be trusted, but certainly the city of Jackson government, you have to start taking a look at it and saying, hey, what can we do? So it's a difficult thing, especially for people that are liberty minded. That's why we've had these ongoing conversations within the caucus.
But, and then you do say, okay, what about the people here? And that's kind of where we're at, is that those discussions continue to be had.
Yep.
So I don't know that we came to full conclusions.
No, I think we're looking at some amendments,
some compromises
that would make it better, and so I think we'll keep discussing those within amongst ourselves and figure out where we land. But didn't come up today.
No,
will not come up tomorrow. So
it'll be
probably early next week.
Next week, I'm thinking. Because it's going to be a fight. It's going to be contentious.
Yeah,
and the chairman. Chairman Lamar is doing a good job. He knows it's not a finished product.
Right.
He told us in committee that he's going to continue to work on it, and the end goal is to try to make the system work.
Yeah.
And so
you can always put a reverse repealer in it and everybody will vote for it and bring it back later.
And for those that don't know, a reverse repealer just says, if the bill passes, it's not going anywhere. It's going to conference.
Yeah, that's right.
We get it to conference, and that's the most dangerous weekend of the year.
Yep. That's right.
In conference, anything can happen.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, look, we're running out of time. Try to keep it at 20 minutes, so we're not keeping everybody's evening too late. Awesome. But thanks for coming on again. Thank you for all joining us again for another Freedom Corner podcast.
And if you're in District 1, North Mississippi, Chris Brown Public Service Commissioner, District 1.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, he'll be a good one. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. Chris, I'll end it how I always end this Freedom Corner podcast. There's no one else I'd rather have fighting in my corner. Thanks for coming on,
Thanks,
and God bless to you all.
Thanks, brother.